I'm Sylvie Sturm, host of Civic from the San Francisco Public Press. On this Civic special, reporter Rosie Bultman has been following participants of a 3-day festival of solo acts and panel discussions by formerly imprisoned people. It's called the Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project, and it's taking to the Rhoda stage at the Berkeley Repertory Theater between January 15th and 18th. A brief note to listeners, this piece includes strong language.
Life in prison is a common theme in American documentaries, movies, and TV. Their popularity is born from the curiosity of a wide variety of viewers looking to see who occupies our prisons and what prison culture is like. But for many members of the Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project, these depictions are inaccurate and even harmful.
Every prison TV movie I've ever seen starts off the same way. Guys are out in the yard, got no shirts, tattoos, looking mean, working out, grouped up, segregated, this group looking at this group all hard, this group looking at this group all hard. And that is a reality. It's not the reality, it's a reality.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. You have a little outline.
The Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project, or FIP, is taking to the stage of one of the Bay Area's most iconic theaters. Between January 15th and 18th, Berkeley Repertory Theater's Rhoda stage will feature a festival of solo performances and panel discussions by formerly incarcerated people.
November 2nd, 1996. That's when it all began. That's the night it all started, when I became a number, 248-2900, in a case file, 96F08775. That's the night that I officially became a criminal.
That's Anthony Michael rehearsing his piece. Another performer, Tony Cyprin, has been with the group since its beginning 6 years ago. Cyprin told me that he has always been a performer at heart and started taking theater classes when he got out of prison.
It is truly, I didn't even know I had the dream until I got here. It's literally a dream come true. You know, this is the place where I first found theater, you know, and now here I am performing on this very stage that I came to see a play on, and I met a person here at this theater that would forever have some change in my life of gratitude.
Performing at Berkeley Rep is a big deal for Cyprin, not just because it was the place he started his theater journey, but because of Berkeley Rep's prestige in the realm of Bay Area theater. The theater has entertained over 6 million people, sent many homegrown productions to Broadway, and won 8 Tony Awards in its 57-year lifespan. The Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project became Berkeley Rep's first ever company in residence in 2023. The upcoming festival is a culmination of their work together.
Here comes Wayne.
Mark Kenward is the main director and producer for the Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project. After years of perfecting the art of solo performance, he started this project in 2020 alongside Rebecca Fisher.
The ideas was we started meeting as a group in January of 2020. We had weekly rehearsals. These rehearsals were amazing. I mean, it's just some of the most powerful experiences I've ever had in the theater. There was just such a, obviously the stories that these 5 individuals were sharing, there were the stark realities of their lives, the circumstances, the choices that they had made, the conditions of prison, the struggles and triumphs of life after prison. It just was really powerful. And every week we were just, it was kind of a spiritual experience in a way.
Even though the COVID-19 lockdown started closely after the performance group's formation, the theater company persisted. Part of Mark Kenward's passion, he told me, is his belief in the power of solo performance.
I am an evangelizer about the power of solo performance. I think anybody who creates their own one-person show, particularly if it's about their own life experiences, it's like creating that show becomes a curriculum for life because it demands so much of you. It demands that you show up in an authentic way on stage. And there may be any number of things that people need to work at in order to do a better job of that.
I spent 2 days with the performers as they prepared for the big show. Some of the performers are seasoned professionals, having won Moth Storytelling Awards and given TED Talks. Others are just beginning their theater journeys.
There are 8 shower heads over here for the black guys, and there's 8 shower heads over here for the brown brothers and the white boys. White guys end up with 3, a telling metric indeed. Don't rush them fridge line.
That's a good one, man.
I know I gotta slow it down again.
During rehearsals, directors and performers work together to perfect each moment of the solo performance.
I love this story so much. I got to hear the end last time, and now I'm getting to hear the beginning this time. And I just think you have a beautiful way of just being with the audience. And your pacing is great. You're just like slow and steady, and you really draw us in. Just as I'm sure people have talked to you about this already, but transitions, you know. So just once you're going, commit. Whatever you're doing to the best of your ability. If you're like, oh, I'm stuck, just like go. You know,
Even if
like
you're wrong.
Even if you're wrong.
Because
exactly.
you'll figure out you're wrong at some point, but then you can go with conviction to the right thing after that.
Yeah.
Other performers sit in the audience intently watching their peers, also offering encouragement and feedback.
Awesome shit, bro. There you go.
Pharaoh speaks.
The stories the performers tell about their lives are wide-ranging. During my time at rehearsal, I heard stories of struggle.
Everyone else failed me anyways. Now it's my turn. Sleeping in the doorways of UN Plaza, in abandoned buildings in South of Market.
Love.
Every man I've ever known who was in prison, with a couple exceptions, was a father.
And the harsh realities of living in prison.
As I'm taking it all in, I see a corrections officer start to yell at some guy. Get down! Get down, you fucking piece of shit! Am I a piece of shit too? If you don't get down, you could be shot.
While there's an abundance of media depicting people in prison and people who commit crimes, the performers I spoke to told me they hope their performances give people a deeper understanding of who formerly incarcerated people are. Al Sasser has been performing with the Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project since its inception in 2020. He highlighted 2 panel discussions to take place during the festival that will address how formerly incarcerated people are depicted in the media.
We have 2 panels during the 4-day festival in which we have questions and answers. And some of those topics are going to address the way that incarcerated or formerly incarcerated people are depicted in the media, in movies, and in shows, which is really, I believe, sensationalized and superficial in terms of depth.
In highlighting their personal experiences moving through prison, many performers bring up systemic injustices within the carceral system that go beyond just themselves. These topics range from unsanitary living conditions and the difficulty of navigating the legal system to how strict visitation policies can break up families and prison healthcare can be a death sentence. Anthony Michael describes in his performance how he pled guilty to a serious felony at just 21 years old.
As you can imagine, I was arrested and charged with felony criminal threats. They made it really easy for me to plead guilty, however. 60 days in a county jail plus 4 years probation. And I could do that county jail on an ankle monitor at home. Pretty good deal, don't you think? Wrong. In my ignorance of the law, I had pled guilty to a serious felony, a strikeable offense. You guys familiar with the 3 strikes law? Serious and violent felonies are deemed strikes. 3 strikes and you're out. Automatic 25 to life sentence. This is supposed to deter people from engaging in criminal activity. But this law only makes sense when dealing with people who are calm and rational. And at 21, I was neither of those things. I was defiant and impulsive. I wasn't thinking about long-term consequences.
The 3 strikes law Michael refers to was approved by California voters in 1994. Similar laws passed in 24 states that year, amid a national tough-on-crime push under President Bill Clinton. But experts say California's version is among the harshest and most widely used in the country. California prisons have been historically severely overcrowded, and many blame policies like the 3 strikes law. The law has lengthened the sentences of over 1/3 of incarcerated people, with Black Californians being the most impacted. Resentencing policies and other measures have reduced the prison population in California considerably. It's now at its lowest point in 30 years, but prisons are still overcrowded. Some performers at FIP lived in California prisons at the peak of their overcrowding and experienced firsthand the filth and sickness that came as a result.
At this time in the mid-90s, from like 96 to like maybe 98, inmates were like dying, like for things that were preventable, like, if a person gives you early warning sign that they're having chest pains, you're supposed to attend to that person and see what that person needs. But prison system was, no. Everybody was a malingerer. Everybody was no, you're just seeking some attention or something like, well, there's people out here, aging men on a prison yard that's saying, hey man, I'm having chest pains. Or a guy goes to the dentist for, because he has a tooth hurting, and they pulled that tooth and found out that the tooth was connected to an abscess, and they pulled it and didn't give him antibiotics, and the poison killed him.
That's Tony Cyprian, who you heard at the top of the episode. In his performance, he remembers a friend who died in state prison due to illness.
They found Jackie dead in that state bed. The system doesn't care. They'll have a brand new inmate sleeping right there. At first, I didn't know this brother from a can of paint. And yet he became my saint. That light-skinned, green-eyed OG by the name of Jackie. Oh, saints illuminate the dark. They shine. With a light so bright, even after his death, he made a prison yard unite. Jackie's legacy to me will always be the moment he yelled out, "Hey, youngster!" to me.
Jackie wasn't the only person to die during Cyprian's time in prison, and one day the people inside decided to do something about it.
And not to mention, I don't know the whole story, I just know that two other inmates prior to Jackie dying had died. 2 white guys on the 1 yard and a 2 yard. And then a Mexican guy died from some kind of infection that they could have given him like some, an antibiotic for. But, it was like, it was just enough was enough, Enough was enough.
So what did you guys do about it? What was the...
We band together as one, and we went in front of the center complex. No violence, nothing to, call out the tear gas canisters for and all that shit. We just wanted to be heard, and not just through the 602 a grievance form. No, man, we need to be heard right now. This is an emergency. This is 911 plus 911 plus 911. We want to know, is this us next? A lot of us are sentenced to life, not death. So if death is what you're saying, then we all should know. So.
How do you think people who have never been to prison or jail, how do you think that they react when they hear stories like that they're just...
Oh, they should be scared. They should be scared. You should be scared out your fucking skin that places like this exist in our country. You should not want to go there. But if you have loved ones there, you should want those loved ones to be taken care of. You should not want those loved ones to die in prison. You should want the best that we can offer our citizens, period. I mean, just because you're an inmate doesn't make you not a citizen of the United States anymore.
Tony himself had to go through 2 years of untreated illness due to the prison healthcare system. He told me that his favorite part of his performance is his personification of close-quartered disease, which serves to illustrate the health hazards of living in a close-quartered, overcrowded prison. Other performers describe similar disgust at the unhygienic state of their prison facility. Scott Shell's performance goes into detail, letting viewers experience the same shock he did when first arriving in prison.
Unsanitary is an understatement. There's feces on the wall, dust on top of dust, stains that would need to be carbon dated. Speaking of unsanitary, let me tell you about the showers. The shower consists of standing under the water, stepping out, lathering up, and rinsing off. All the while I'm standing in ankle-deep water. That's right, I'm standing in everybody's ass. That's why a lot of guys stay in their cells and take a bird bath. Speaking of the bathrooms, I mean the cells, but let's face it, the cells are a bathroom with a bunk bed in it. They're 5 by 10. I'm 6 feet. I can stand there and touch both walls flat palmed. At times when my gratitude is waning, still to this day, I do this to remind myself that things could always be worse. And believe me, they could always be worse.
Scott Shell's account is no exception. It reflects a system-wide failure. California jails and prisons are routinely filthy and unsafe. In September 2025, California Attorney General Rob Bonta sued Los Angeles County over jail conditions, citing broken plumbing, rodent infestations, and lack of basic hygiene supplies, while people live under near constant cell confinement. Yet, other facilities escape scrutiny. Former San Quentin news editor Kevin D. Sawyer reports that at San Quentin, plumbing failures persist, birds defecate on food in the dining hall, and maintenance requests are ignored. As systemic issues related to California prisons are hashed out in court, they can sometimes feel cold and impersonal. In watching the performers rehearse, though, it is clear that rules and regulations within prisons often become deeply personal.
I'm a father of 3. 2 daughters, and my youngest is Brandon, my son. I was closer to Brandon than I was to my daughters because I had court-ordered visitation with Brandon while I was in prison. For the first 8 years of his life, my wife, then ex-wife, would bring him to see me in the county jail, and then would bring him to see me in the prison visiting rooms. While being processed through prison and visiting, his mom was treated callously, he was treated callously. His mom would be sent back to the car to go change into something. Perfect business attire she would wear into visiting, and they'd make her go out and change her shoes or change this or question her about what she was bringing in. Just the most ridiculous, arbitrary thing. So what Brandon told me when he was 8 was that he wanted to grow up to be a cop who arrested bad cops. Based purely on his experience with the prison guards. What else he told me when he was 8 was that he didn't want to come see me anymore. He didn't want to come to the prison. It wasn't that he didn't want to see me, but he didn't want to be subjected to the treatment that he and his mom experienced when coming to prison.
Everyone that I've spoken to who has made the transition between incarceration to the outside world has said that it was extremely difficult. The reasons can range from the overwhelming nature of making everyday decisions to the realities of getting a job as someone who was incarcerated at a young age and never had the opportunity to build job skills. Performer Christina Anastad hasn't been incarcerated since she was 21 and is now 47, working as a journalist at KPFA Radio in Berkeley. To this day, she thinks about what she experienced in jail all the time.
I firmly believe that, for people who've been incarcerated, I still compare things in my life to back when I was in jail. Especially when you're incarcerated as a young person, when your brain is still developing and your sense of self and your identity is still developing. To go through incarceration at that stage, for me, it stayed with me all my life. And I still think back to some of those encounters and memories and people and I met along the way. Yeah, big traumatic experiences, and being incarcerated is a traumatic experience. Those things just don't go away.
Community re-entry programs that support formerly incarcerated people in their transition to the outside world with things like housing, substance use, and employment are proven to reduce recidivism rates and increase employment prospects. Joseph Bell Jr. works for the re-entry engagement program at the Felton Institute in San Francisco. He served 24 years and 10 months in prison on a falsified felony murder charge and was released in 2020. He told me that the spiritual and emotional support he received from community organizations was instrumental to his transition coming out of prison.
I think for me, I got a lot of spiritual support, a lot of emotional support, and I think that's what's lacking for a lot of individuals inside that are incarcerated. So that's where the work that I do, I have a coworker that goes into the jail and talks to individuals before they get released. But I think inside, my experience being inside after somebody's been locked up for 10, 20, 30 years, they kind of lose hope and don't even believe like there's even a chance to get out.
Bell says one of the most fulfilling aspects of his current work is getting to restore hope for people currently and formerly incarcerated. One thing he says really helps is when people can express themselves through art.
So things like that, people get artistic. You'll start drawing or poems and writings and stuff like that will tap into their creativity and give back to humanity. Most of the people I work with are coming out of jail as opposed to prison, so it's a little shorter term, but a lot of them have talent. They come out here, and had rap careers or, beginning rap careers, and then they come out, and once they can feed their creativity, it makes them feel better. And then if their art is impactful, they say people remember how you make them feel, not so much what you tell them, but how you make them feel. So I think the arts, it makes people, it changes people as a whole and lets them feel the humanity of somebody that, shouldn't be defined by their, a mistake they made or a bad decision that they made.
While the Performance Project isn't a re-entry program, for many performers, creating a solo performance is a large part of their emotional journey.
I would say number one for me, and I believe a lot of the other film performers share this thinking, is that it's a therapeutic process. It allowed us to share our stories, to get it outside of our chest, and to share it with other people, and not only provide them with insight that would give them an understanding about who we are as individuals and human beings, but also for us to be able to face what we've gone through.
But according to Al Sasser, the emotional journey the Performance Project fosters isn't just for the performers.
We call it a parallel process, meaning I teach and at the same time I learn. So when we share these stories, we provide that insight to the audience, and that in turn gives them a better understanding, and then people choose to be more accepting, more inviting, and like I once learned is that each story adds to the bigger story. And I believe in that story, we find an antidote to our problems or a better solution to the things that we face, all of us in the world.
As Sasser said, storytelling goes beyond the individual, and stories about formerly incarcerated people have been used to create real change. Linda Evans is a key organizer for the All of Us Are None and Ban the Box campaigns. Ban the Box is an initiative started by All of Us Are None to make it illegal for most employers to discriminate against candidates for their criminal histories. The box refers to the checkbox on job applications that asks whether an applicant has a criminal record. In California, it is generally illegal for employers to ask about criminal history in job applications or interviews, run background checks on prospective employees, or make statements that exclude people with criminal histories in job postings. The Ban the Box campaign received an endorsement from former President Barack Obama in 2015, and since then, 37 states, Washington, D.C., and over 150 cities and countries have adopted Ban the Box policies. A key part of the initiative's efforts, according to Linda Evans, was their use of storytelling.
One of the benefits is to stir empathy so that people can relate to both the circumstances under which an original crime might have taken place. That's certainly what stories do, right? Is explain what was happening or how it happened that X person even got killed, when that wasn't the intent of anyone going into those circumstances. So that's what the specifics of an individual story can do, is break down that prejudice and develop or create a fertile ground for empathy to develop. And that is beyond that. I mean, the value of that is beyond calculating.
Joseph Bell Jr. works on a campaign to end sentences of life without the possibility of parole, which he was originally sentenced to. He has also experienced firsthand the impact of personal storytelling when advocating for formerly incarcerated people.
We just started building on a segment on our website. It's called Freedom Stories. And what Freedom Stories does, it gives you a glimpse of people that were formerly sentenced to life without parole, and it shows what they're doing now, and it humanizes them. I haven't done it yet. I did something similar with Human Rights Watch. Human Rights Watch did a report on over 100 people that were serving life without parole and showing what they've done since they've been home. Like for me, for example, I get to be a grandpa. I have a son and he has two children, so I get to be in their lives. Whereas if I was dying in prison, it'd be very limited.
The Formerly Incarcerated People's Performance Project's 4-day festival at Berkeley Rep will give audience members an opportunity to engage directly with the experiences of formerly incarcerated people. More information is available at fip.org/fipfestival. That is fipp.org/FIPPP-festival. I'm Rosie Boltman for Civic and the San Francisco Public Press.
This story was written, voiced, and edited by Rosie Boltman. I'm the host of Civic, Sylvie Sturm. The San Francisco Public Press creates a series of public affairs programming, including our award-winning Civic podcast and radio show, which delivers in-depth reporting and conversations on government, public policy, and accountability issues shaping San Francisco and the Bay Area. Civic specials forward the work of other reporters, and Civic Presents includes San Francisco Public Press events and discussions with newsmakers. All of these programs are online at ksfp.fm and on the radio at 102.5 FM in San Francisco. Subscribe to our podcast by looking for Civic from the San Francisco Public Press wherever you get your podcasts. Our team includes San Francisco Public Press publisher Lila LaHood and KSFP program director Mel Baker. Thanks for listening.